I'm not gonna dress this up, because it didn't happen dressed up. It happened at 3 a.m. on a bathroom floor, in the least cinematic version of a moment that changed everything. I had been awake for 2 days, running the same loop, the way your brain does when it finds a wound and won't leave it alone. And somewhere around 3 a.m. I ran out of the energy required to keep the performance going. The performance of being fine, the performance of handling it. And I said something out loud to the ceiling that I hadn't said before. Not the Sunday version, just my actual voice, in my actual desperation, saying my actual situation, without editing it first, without making it presentable. And I wanna be honest about what I expected, which was nothing, because nothing is what every previous version of this conversation had produced.
3 a.m. and got picked up.
Didn't go to voicemail this time.
3 a.m. and got picked up.
Like he'd been waiting on the line. I didn't have a prayer prepared, didn't have the words exactly right. 3 a.m. and
got picked up.
and something changed in the middle of the night. I can't tell you it was audible. What happened was quieter than I expected, and more convincing. It was more like a shift in the temperature of the room, a settling of something that had been unsettled for longer than I could accurately measure. A sense of being located by something that knew exactly where I was without directions. I sat on that floor until the sun started, then got up differently than I'd sat down. Not fixed,
not finished,
but found.
And found
is different
from fixed.
Found means something was looking, and it had been looking the whole time. I just couldn't hear it over the volume of everything else I was running.
Psalm 34
says he is close to the broken-hearted, not close to people with polished prayers. Close to the broken-hearted, which means the bathroom floor is the location he moves toward,
not away from.
and the 3 a.m. voice with no dignity left is exactly the frequency he picks up on every time. I still have 3 a.m. sometimes, but different now, 'cause now I know what happens when you tell the ceiling the actual truth without editing it first. He picks up every time.
3 a.m. and got picked up.
He picks up every time.
3 a.m. and got picked up.
Every time. Call. Call. I'm not gonna dress this one up. It was day 247 and then it wasn't, and now it's day 1 again. And I'm choosing to say that out loud, because the alternative is pretending it didn't happen, which is where it started last time. It was the week before when I started going to the meeting, 'cause I felt good enough. And feeling good enough is the most dangerous place in recovery. It whispers that you've arrived, when arrival is the myth that gets you. I listened to the whisper and made the decision. It felt like no decision, just a slide, a gradual lean toward the familiar way of the old escaping in the day that wasn't day 247 anymore. And I wanna be honest about what I did next, because what you do next is the whole thing. You can disappear into the shame, or you can call it day 1 and go back to the room and say it out loud.
Day 1 again.
That's where I am.
Day 1 again.
Not where I planned, but where I'm standing lesson, doesn't
Day one again.
I walked in on a Tuesday and said my name and said what happened without editing at first, and nobody left. That's the thing about rooms built for this, nobody leaves. A man with 11 years sober put his hand on my shoulder and said welcome back, like I had been on a trip that was always gonna end here. And I would start to count again, not a failure, a return. The grace that saves the first time is the same grace that receives the return. There is no grace limit, no relapse clause in the covenant, no fine print that says this offer expires after a certain number of day ones. It doesn't expire, it was designed for this, for the man who keeps coming back. The grace is already there, so here I am, day one again. And I'm not ashamed of that, I'm honest about it, which is the closest thing to sober I've ever been in any version of this.
Day one again.
The grace receives it.
Day one again.
The count is not the measure.
Day one again.
Still here, still trying.
Day one. I've been very good at making myself hard to find. I perfected the back row, the side door, the early exit. Yeah, I'm fine. Delivered at exactly the right decibel. Do not invite follow-up questions. I've been in churches where I felt completely invisible, and I preferred it that way, because invisible means nobody asks, nobody sees the thing you came in carrying. Nobody knows you've been in the same pew with the same weight for the third Sunday running. But I wanna tell you what I found out about the back row. When you think the lights don't reach it, they do, just differently. Not the spotlight, something else, something that doesn't care about your seating selection. And I sat back there, thinking I was watching God from a safe distance, and God was watching me from no distance at all. God sees you in the back row.
That's where He looks first.
God sees you in the back row.
In the hiding, in the hurt, you can take the side door, you can leave before the end. God sees you in the back row, and He's been there the whole time. Yeah. There's a woman in Genesis 16 that most people skip. She's in the desert having run from something, and an angel finds her at a spring. And she gives God a name that appears nowhere else in Scripture.
Elroy.
The God who sees me, not the God of the temple, the God of the desert spring, where no one else looked. And I thought, that's the God I need, not the one I can find when I'm doing well, the one who finds me when I run to the desert and thinks it worth the trip.
God sees you in the back row.
God sees you.
God sees you in the back row.
Elroy, the God who sees me, not the polished version, not the version I show at the door, the version in the back row, the version with the side door strategy. That version, He sees that one specifically by name. I still sit in the back sometimes, old habits, but differently now, because every seat is the front row to someone who sees everything and chooses to look with that kind of eye.
He sees you.
He sees you.
I gave him a demolition site, and he didn't flinch. He walked the property and said, "I can work with this. I've seen worse and made better." I wanna tell you what it looks like when God starts working on a life that got handed over as rubble. Cause everybody shows you the after photo. Nobody shows you the Tuesday when there's still dust everywhere and the framing is exposed. And it looks worse than when you started, because demolition before reconstruction always does. I handed him what I had, which was a structure that looked like a life from the outside, but had been compromised from inside for longer than I could accurately measure. And I said, here it is, all of it. I'm done trying to renovate it myself. And he said, alright, and he started. And I wanna be clear, he didn't ask me to fix it first. He didn't ask me to sort the rubble into categories of salvageable and not. He just said, hand it over, and I'll tell you what stays and what goes. That's a different kind of help than I was raised to ask for. He didn't leave it how he found it. That's the testimony right there. He didn't leave it how he found it. Did more than patch and repair. He went all the way down to the foundation and built something that holds. He didn't leave it how he found it. And the new thing is better than anything I could have controlled. Than anything I controlled. There were rooms I hadn't opened in years, and he opened them. And I stood at the door and watched him work on things I had given up expecting to be functional again. The room that held the fatherhood I thought I ruined completely, he rebuilt the whole thing from what I thought was ash. The room that held the marriage that I had structurally compromised, he went down to the joist. And I watched it become something neither of us designed ourselves. And he's not finished, that's the honest part. He's still working, which means there are still rooms that look like demolition from the inside. And I'm learning to read that as progress, not failure. He didn't leave it how he found it. That's the testimony right there. He didn't leave it how he found it. Did more than patch and repair. He went all the way down to the foundation and built something that holds. He didn't leave it how he found it. And the new thing is better than anything I control. Joel 2:25 says he will restore the years the locust has eaten. And I read that for the first time and thought it was poetry. But I've been standing in the restoration long enough to know it's not poetry, it's a contractor's guarantee. And he stands behind his work with the authority of someone who made the original materials and knows exactly what they were built to bear. I walk through what he's done so far, and I don't recognize some of it in the best way, the way you don't recognize a scar that's healed cleaner than you thought it would. And I say, Lord, what did you do here? And the answer is always the same. I finished what you started when you handed it over.
He didn't leave it how he found it.
Still working, still building. Better than before, better in our control. He didn't leave it
How he found it.
I want to describe the dark before I describe the light. Because the light doesn't mean what it means if you don't know what the dark actually was. The dark was not dramatic, that's the first thing to understand about it. It was not the movie version where the darkness announces itself with appropriate music, invisible shadows. The dark was ordinary, which is what made it so effective. It was the low-grade constant that became the baseline, the familiar weight that I stopped noticing was weight, because it had been in the air so long. I thought that was what air was, and I walked in it for years, making peace with the ceiling of what was available in the dark, not knowing there was a ceiling at all, because I had never been in a room where the ceiling wasn't there.
And then something happened
that I did not initiate, a call that came from outside the room I was in
a frequency
I hadn't heard before that said, there is more than the ceiling you've been living under. Come out.
I came from the dark
into something that don't have language for yet.
I came from the dark
Called out by a voice I didn't choose.
I came from the dark
And the dark was real,
The light is realer
and I am standing in both the memory of the dark and the reality of the light.
I came from the dark
I came from the dark. 1 Peter 2:9 says, called out of darkness into his wonderful light. And I've been sitting with the word wonderful, because wonderful is not the word I would have chosen from inside the dark. Wonderful implies a response of wonder, and wonder requires that you have experienced the contrast between the dark you were in and the light you arrived at. And the contrast is so large that wonderful is actually the right word after you've been in both.
Because the light's
Not just better than the dark, it is the revelation that the dark was never what you were made for. And the recognition of that mismatch is exactly what wonder feels like. And I am walking in the wonderful with the full memory of what I was called from, which makes the light more wonderful than it would be for someone who doesn't know the dark.
I came from the dark
Into something I don't have language for, called out by a voice.
I came from the dark
And the dark was real, and the light is realer. I came from the dark I came from the dark I think about the people still in the dark, who don't know there's a call coming or have heard it, and don't trust that it's for them. And I want to say, from the other side of the threshold, it is for them. The call doesn't check credentials before it comes. It came to me without checking mine, and mine are not in order. The wonderful light is not waiting for you to deserve it. It's waiting for you to come out, which is a different and significantly lower bar. I still know what the dark smells like. I don't live there anymore, but I remember it precisely. And the memory is the most useful thing I carry into every conversation with someone who is still in it.
I know
The address,
I know
the ceiling, I know the ordinary way,
And I know
the exact moment the call arrived, and what it sounded like, and what I did when I heard it. I came out, and the light was wonderful. Called out of darkness
into wonderful light I came from the dark
into wonderful light.
into wonderful light
Call.
into wonderful light
I came from the dark. I came from the dark.
Wonderful light Wonderful
Wonderful light. wanna talk to the person who is at the specific place where the math stops working, where the calculation of what the next morning costs against what the next morning offers is coming out in a direction that scares you.
I wanna talk
specifically to you. Yeah. I've been at the place you're describing more than once, and I wanna tell you what I know from the other side of the times I chose not today. Not I believe it gets better, not I feel hope, just not today. Not this particular decision on this particular morning. And I know that sounds small, and I wanna tell you that small is exactly the right size for where you are right now. You don't need a large decision, you need the smallest possible decision that keeps you here until tomorrow, and tomorrow you make it again. And I'm not gonna tell you that the pain goes away, because I don't know your pain, and I don't wanna minimize it with a promise I can't make. What I'll tell you is that the people who aren't here anymore didn't know what was on the other side of the day they stopped. And the people who made the minimum viable decision enough times to find out.
not today,
Not yet, that's the only decision I'm asking for.
not today, not yet,
Not I'm healed, not I'm fixed,
just not today,
not this morning, not this decision on this day.
not today, not yet,
And tomorrow we make it again, not today. I have a list that I keep of things that existed on the other side of the days I chose not today. And the list is long enough that I wanna share it with you. There is a conversation on the other side of not today that you cannot imagine from here, because the imagination is compromised by the place you're standing in. And the conversation will matter more than I can describe from this distance. Though there's a morning on the other side of not today that will feel different than this morning. Not because the problem's resolved, because the light hits differently on the morning you didn't think you'd see. There is a version of you on the other side of not today that the version of you standing here cannot access yet. And that version needs you to make the minimum viable decision right now. And I'm not asking for hope, I'm asking for the decision that makes tomorrow possible. Just the decision, not today,
not yet,
no, not today,
not yet,
that's the only decision.
not today, not yet,
Tomorrow, we make it again, not today. I need you to do something right now before you make any other decision. Tell one person where you are, not tomorrow, right now. One person who can be with you in this. If you don't have one person, call 988, which is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and they will be one person right now. You don't have to be okay, you don't have to have hope, you just have to make the minimum viable decision. One more time,
not today,
not yet,
not yet,
you can do that.
one more time, you can do that,
I am on the other side of more not todays, and I can accurately count, and every single one of them led to something that the version of me who was making the decision could not have imagined from that position. And I am deeply grateful for every morning that someone made the minimum viable decision and found out what was on the other side.
not today,
Not yet,
not yet,
one more time,
one more time, you can do that,
not today. Tell someone where you are,
not today,
the morning is coming.
not yet,
Still here,
still here,
still here. I wanna tell you something about rock bottom that they leave out of the warning. Rock bottom has a floor, and the floor is solid, and you can stand on it and build from it. I know because I found it. Yeah. I hit every level on the way down, And there are more levels than people advertise. There's the level you think is the bottom that isn't. There's the level after that you were sure was the bottom that also wasn't. And then there's the actual bottom, which is quieter than you expected and more honest than anywhere you've been in years. Because at the actual bottom, you run out of the performance, you run out of the story, you run out of the version of yourself you've been presenting. And all that's left is the truth. And the truth turns out to be a better foundation than the performance ever was. Rock bottom is the worst address I've ever lived at, and the best foundation I've ever built from. And I didn't understand how those could both be true until I was standing on the floor of it, looking up at what was possible. Rock bottom has a floor. That's what they don't tell you. Rock bottom has a floor. You can stand on it, you can build from it. I found mine on a Tuesday in the quietest room I'd ever been in. Rock bottom has a floor, and the floor is called grace, and it holds everything you bring to it. Rock bottom has a floor. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Yeah. The bottom gave me honesty in a way that comfort never had. The bottom gave me the conversation I had been too proud to have for 3 years. Cause at the bottom, pride is too expensive and the conversation is free. The bottom gave me the room where I said my actual name in front of people who knew it and they didn't leave. The bottom gave me the morning where I asked for help and meant it, fully meant it, without the performance of humility that is actually just shame in a suit. And I look at the bottom now from the floor it gave me, with the foundation it turned out to be. And I think about the me that hit all those levels on the way down, and I wouldn't rescue him early, not one level early, because the floor was where the work happened that the surface never would have allowed. Rock bottom has a floor. You can stand on it, you can build from it. The floor is called grace, and it holds everything. Stand up, stand up. If you're in a descent right now and you're not sure you're at the bottom yet, I can't tell you where your floor is, but I can tell you it exists. And when you find it, don't rush off, sit on it for a minute. Let it be the quietest room you've ever been in, and listen to what the quiet says. It will say things that the noise on the way down couldn't say. And those things are the material for what gets built next. I've been building for 2 years now. From the floor to the bottom I found, and everything I built has the specific quality of something that was made by a man who knows what the foundation is made of. Cause he was there when it was just the floor.
Rock bottom has a floor.
Stand up, stand up. Grace is the floor.
Build from here,
Build from here.
build from here.
Rock, 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 rock.
Rock bottom has a floor.
The floor holds. Stand up
Stand up
and build. Stand up.
and build. Stand up and build.
Shane came by again last week. Same knock it always has. And I watched it from the window of the new address, and I didn't answer, not because I wasn't home, because it had the wrong address. I used to live in a house that Shane knew well. It had the spare key, it knew which door stuck, it knew which floorboard to avoid, to get to the bedroom at 3 a.m. without waking anybody. And Shane lived there the way shameless places, quietly enough to deny, loudly enough to be in every room. And I called it by other names for a long time. I called it conscience, I called it standards, I called it not letting myself off the hook until I understood the difference between conviction that leads to change and shame that just lives there, rearranging the furniture of your self-perception every time you think you've settled it.
Conviction says
What you did was wrong.
here is the path to repair it.
Shame says
What you did was wrong.
and you will never be more than what you did, and those are not the same address. I moved, I forwarded the mail.
Shame comes to the wrong address.
Grace is what lives here now. I used to let it in, used to make it coffee, used to give it a room.
Shame comes to the wrong address.
And I watch it from the window now, and I don't answer the door. I don't answer the door. The new address is in Romans 8. The new address is in Ephesians 2. The new address has a name on the deed that isn't mine originally. It was given to me, and the name on the deed is what I answer to now. Not the name shame calls when it comes around. And I wanna tell you something about shame's directional memory. It doesn't update well, it keeps the old coordinates. It doesn't know about the move unless you stop responding to the knock at the old address. Which means every time you answer, you give it a reason to keep coming back to the wrong place. So I stopped answering, not because I denied the past, because I have a different address now. And shame doesn't have the new one, and I'm not giving it out.
Shame comes to the wrong address.
I moved, I forwarded the mail.
Grace is what lives here now.
I watch it from the window, and I don't
answer the door.
Hebrews 10:17 says their sins and lawless acts I will remember no more. God has deliberately not updated His address book with the location of what was forgiven. Which means if He's not keeping that address active, I don't need to either. Shame is working from outdated information about a residence that was vacated at the cross. I no longer live there, and the lease expired before I even knew I could move. Some days I still hear the knock. Habit is powerful, and old addresses stay in the muscle for longer than you'd want. But I know what to do now. I go to the window, I look at what's standing on the old porch, and I say, that's not my address anymore. And I go back to the room that grace furnished.
Wrong address.
Wrong address.
Shame comes to the wrong address.
I move,
I forwarded the mail.
grace is what lives here.
Wrong address.
Come to the right one. Grace is here.
Grace is here.
Grace is here. I want to talk about the court. You've been running in your own head where you are the judge, the prosecutor, the defendant, and somehow also the jury. And the verdict always comes back the same. And I want to tell you something about the jurisdiction of that court. Yeah. You've been prosecuting yourself for something that was already tried in a higher court with better evidence, and a verdict that came back not guilty by reason of grace. And yeah, here you are, still holding the exhibit list, still rehearsing the closing argument, still calling witnesses who testified 10 years ago in a case that is no longer on the docket. Yeah. You are acting as prosecutor in a case that has already been dismissed by the only judge whose verdict is binding, and you keep appealing a decision you didn't make.
And I wanna tell you something about the defendant in that court.
He was acquitted, not because the charges were false, because the penalty was paid by someone who was not the defendant. And the court accepted that payment and closed the file.
Stop prosecuting the man God already acquitted.
The case is closed.
Stop.
Relitigating it.
Stop prosecuting the man God already
The
acquitted.
gavel came down, he said,
Not guilty.
you keep walking into that courtroom with the same exhibit list, but the judge already ruled.
Stop prosecuting the man God already acquitted.
You are free.
You are free.
Walk out. I know what you bring to court. Every time you convene this session, you bring the exhibit from 2008, the one with all the details. You bring the testimony from the people you disappointed. You bring the character witness who is just the previous version of yourself, and you present all of it to a judge who keeps saying case dismissed, and you keep saying but your honor, and the judge keeps saying case dismissed. The payment was accepted, the record was expunged, the defendant is free to go, and you keep standing at the podium because you have not decided yet whether you trust the verdict more than you trust your own prosecution. And trusting the verdict is not minimizing what happened, it's accepting that the verdict was rendered by someone with full knowledge of what happened and rendering it anyway.
Stop prosecuting the man God already acquitted.
The case is closed.
Stop, God.
You're litigating it, the gavel came down.
He said not guilty.
You are free.
Walk out.
Romans 8:1 says, there is therefore now
No condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Now, not eventually, not after sufficient self-punishment, not when you feel like you've served enough. Now, there is now no condemnation, which means the prosecution has been prohibited by the highest court, and you continue in the prosecutor's contempt of that court. So I say this with all respect for the seriousness of what you did and for the weight you've been carrying.
Stop.
The main guy
God acquitted.
doesn't owe the internal
Prosecutor.
one more day in that courtroom, not one more day. I walked out of mine on the Thursday, not because I minimized what happened, because I finally trusted the verdict more than I trusted my own prosecution. And the Thursday air outside that internal courthouse tasted different than any air I'd breathed in the years I kept going back in. Case dismissed. Walk out.
Case dismissed.
You're free.
Stop prosecuting the man God acquitted.
The gavel came down.
It's done.
Walk out. Walk out.
Walk out. Walk out. Walk out. Walk out. Free.
Walk out.
Walk out. Walk out. Walk out.
I want to tell you about the kind of grief that doesn't have a timeline and doesn't respond to the platitudes as well as everyone around you seems to think it should. It was a Tuesday when the world rearranged itself into before and after, and I became a man who lives in the after and still reaches for the phone to call someone who doesn't have a phone anymore. The grief they describe in books is orderly, stages with names, a progression towards something called acceptance that sounds like a finish line. The grief I know is not orderly. It's the grocery store on a Thursday when the song comes on and the cart stops moving, because you are not in the grocery store anymore. You are somewhere else entirely, and nobody around you knows that. And the world kept going like nothing happened, and I wanted to stop every car on the highway and tell them that something enormous had occurred, and the day should not look the way the day looks.
The grief nobody talks about
Is the 6 a.m. version,
the Tuesday version,
the song in the grocery store version, the reaching for the phone version.
the grief nobody talks about.
Lives in the ordinary places and ambushes you there.
And I wanna say out loud,
But that's allowed,
that's allowed.
that's allowed. Grief lives where it lives. I wanna talk about the silence, because nobody talks about the silence. The weeks when heaven felt like a recording, when I said the words I was supposed to say and felt nothing return. And I know what the theology says about feelings and truth, but grief doesn't care what the theology says. Grief is its own weather system, and it doesn't consult the doctrine before it arrives. And I sat in the silence and didn't perform the piece the people expected. And that was the most honest thing I've done in a long time, because the God who wept at Lazarus' tomb already knew it was about to happen and wept anyway. Which means the tears are not a failure of faith. They're the most faithful thing in the moment.
The grief nobody talks about
It's the 6 a.m. version,
the Tuesday version,
the reaching for the phone version.
grief lives where it lives.
And that's allowed.
That's allowed.
Psalm 34:18 says, He is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Not after the grief resolves, during
He is close.
During the grocery store Thursday,
He is close.
during the 6 a.m.,
He is close.
during the silence that doesn't feel like peace.
He is close.
He is present in the specific coordinates of your specific grief, not rushing you toward acceptance, present with you in the before and after, in the impossible Tuesday, and all of it. I still reach for the phone sometimes. I don't think that goes away entirely. What changes is the pause after the reach, when I remember, and what I've learned to do in that pause is say a name, not into absence, into the presence that's in the room. And let the grief be grief, and let the peace be present simultaneously, because they are not mutually exclusive. I had to learn that
He is close.
to the broken hearted. He is close
In the 6 a.m.
in the grocery store,
in the grocery store.
in the reaching for the phone.
He is close. He is close. He is close.
He is close.
He is close.
I want to tell you about the wait before I tell you about the altar, because the altar only makes sense if you understand what I was carrying when I got there. It wasn't fire and brimstone, wait. It was the Tuesday kind, the 3 a.m. kind, the lying in bed knowing kind. That thing you did 10 years ago that still sits in the chest when the room gets quiet. I called it baggage, I called it my past, I called it something I'm working through. I called it complicated history, anything except the word that will require something of me. And the weight gets heavier the longer you carry it along.
That's the thing about sin.
It compounds like interest on the debt you keep pretending you don't owe.
The weight I carried to the altar
was everything I've been.
The weight I carried to the altar
Was where I'd always been. I didn't go because I was ready, I went because I was tired.
the weight I carried
To the altar, finally found a place to be laid down. I carried the lie I told at 22 that cost someone something real. I carried the relationship I destroyed with my own hands, cause I was afraid of something good. I carried the version of me that my children almost got before I changed. I carried all of it through the parking lot, through the doors, down the aisle, and I set it on the altar, not gracefully, not with a testimony ready, just a man putting down something he could not carry one more mile.
The weight I carried to the altar
1 John 1:9 says if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And I read that as a transaction until I read it as a promise from someone who knew exactly what I'd be carrying when I walked through the door and said, come anyway, come heavy. The altar is wide enough.
I walked out carrying
Less than I walked in with.
not nothing, I'm still human.
By nothing, I'm still human.
But less,
Considerably less, and less is how new things start.
set it down.
Set it down. The altar is wide enough. He already knew what you were carrying.
Set it down.
I want to give you an accurate account of what I ruined before I tell you what God built from it. Because the building only makes sense if you understand the specific shape of the ruins. I ruined trust, the specific kind that takes years to build and one decision to demolish. The kind that when it goes takes everything it was attached to with it. I ruined the version of my family that would have existed if I had made different choices in the years when the choices were most consequential. And that version doesn't exist. And I don't get it back, and pretending otherwise is the second ruining. I ruined some relationships that were not mine to ruin, that belonged to people who deserve better architecture than what I was building at the time. And they carry the damage in ways I don't always see, but know are there. And I'm naming it specifically because the generic version, the I made mistakes version, doesn't honor what was actually damaged or what it cost the people in the blast radius of my particular choices. What God built on what I ruined is more specific than the destruction was. He didn't build something generic on the ruins. He built something that only works because of the particular shape of what fell. What God built on what I ruined is the most precise thing I have ever witnessed. Precise enough to be personal, precise enough to be Him. The trust that was ruined was rebuilt differently than it existed before. It was rebuilt with the knowledge of what broke it, which made the rebuilt version more structurally sound than the original. Not despite the breaking, because of the specific information the breaking provided. The family that would have existed was replaced by a family that was built by people who understood what families require. From personal experience of watching one fall and choosing not to rebuild it the same way. The relationships that I damaged, some will repair with the honesty that the undamaged versions never required, and are therefore closer now than they were before the damage. And I'm not saying the damage was worth it, I'm saying God worked with it in a way that produces something that couldn't have been produced without the specific architecture of the specific failure. And that's different from the damage being worth it, and both are true simultaneously. What God built on what I ruined is more specific than the destruction. He built something that only works because of the shape of what fell. Precise enough to be personal, precise enough to be Him. Joel 2:25 is the verse I quoted earlier in the collection, and I want to come back to it from this angle. He will restore the years the locusts have eaten, not replace them, restore them. Which means the years themselves are transformed, not discarded. The ruined years become the material for what He builds next.
and the material carries the memory of what it was before it was restored. Which is why what he builds from the ruins looks like nothing you could have designed from scratch. It has the specific grain of what it was before, running through everything it became after. And that grain is how you know it was him who built it, not you. I stand in what he built, and I can see the ruins in it, not his wounds as material. And the man who knows the difference between those two things is a man who has watched God work on something he thought was beyond repair. What God built and what I ruined, specific, personal. Yes. What God built on what I ruined, more beautiful for the breaking, more precise for the ruins. He built this.
He built this
From what I gave him. He built this.